Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I've got I think it's third time returning guest coming on is Josh Mason of Detox Teas. The last time I think I had him on was about 2 years ago, so it's been a while. And I think it's too long, Josh, because as you know, and as I talk about here on Anarchast, and actually we haven't talked about this for the last few episodes at least, but I do think it's really important is the health related stuff. And it's not just physical, but it's also mental health, and you've gone through all that stuff, and even spiritual sort of health related things being healthy about your spirituality, so to speak, and things like that. So all those, health in general is quite important, I would say. If you don't have physical health, and Josh, you know all about this. If you didn't see the first few episodes with Josh and you enjoy this episode, go back and check it out. His story is unbelievable. About essentially, to cut it short, it's a bit of a what do you call that when you tell somebody about a movie that they haven't seen yet? It's going to have like some what do you call this thing?
Dark Night of the Soul. What is it?
No, like when someone hasn't seen a movie, but you're going to tell them what it's all about.
Alert.
Spoiler alert, here it is. So hit mute for the next 20 seconds if you want to go and hear the whole story. But essentially, he had mercury fillings, which almost destroyed his life. He went through hell for years and finally learned how to detox himself from it all. And through that process, started the Detox Teas, and now he continues on. And he's still very, very active in searching for the best things for health. If you don't know his channel, check it out. It's awesome. I also really love, Josh, that you have a real personal touch on there. You're just talking like heart to heart with people. You talk about not just things like supplements or this new thing to try, but you're also talking about like how you feel about it, what you've gone through, the sort of the emotional and the sort of things related to it all, which is, of course, when you're kind of ill, it can be a very emotional time for you because, and as you point out in a lot of your videos, you talk about depression, you talk about things like, people just kind of giving up, it can be very, very difficult. And I've seen you've got the Detox Dudes. I'm part of your group. You've got like a thing on Facebook with a private group for members, and I see all the great work you do. So I wanted to just say you've been doing some awesome work. You got so much stuff. We can't cover even a quarter of it here, obviously. So if you're interested in all the health stuff, subscribe to Josh's YouTube channel. But, let's start with just getting up to date with you, Josh. I think you're in California now. I think the last time we spoke, you were in Portland wearing an Ethereum shirt in 2017. So hopefully that turned out okay for you. And give us an update. What's going on?
Sure, yeah. Well, I was really wealthy for about 6 months or maybe 4 months with Ethereum, and I held. I'm still holding, but I still believe in it for the long haul. So as far as me, I moved into this beautiful place in Bonnie Doon on 2 acres, and my health journey continues. People think that health is something that you achieve and then it's over, right? And you get on with your life. But in truth, for someone who is devoted to, spiritual practice or bettering themselves or evolution, or feeling better or really biohacking, any of those departments where we're trying to continuously peel layers of the onion and feel better and better, and explore possibilities of human potential, the journey never ends. It's this constant spiral. And there are people who want to achieve health and move on with their life, and that's fine, but it's very difficult to do that. We have to continuously maintain, continuously fix the car, replace the parts, check the engine, replace the oil, etc. And that's what I continue to do. And I continue to dive deeper and deeper, and recently, for me, the universe kind of puts health challenges in my way in order to figure it out, in order to spread the message. And that's what I feel like I've done in the past couple years, again. Now, of course, it's not as debilitating and severe as having mercury poisoning and being on the verge of death. We're talking more along the lines of like neck issues, back issues, inflammation, these injuries that I've had. And so I guess what's really present in my life is postural and structural stuff, like with the back and with the neck. And some amazing things that I've found is foundation training. Foundation training supports the posterior muscle chain, which is basically, it's what's the word? Emaciated. It's not alive in most people because we sit so much. And because we have poor posture, and because we're slouching our head to be on the cell phone and be on the computer, And so foundation training really changed my whole structure. I actually grew an inch since doing foundation training. It teaches you how to separate how to train your muscles to decompress your spine with your breath and with your rib cage alone, right? So it's fascinating stuff. It's called foundation training, and it really helped with a herniated disc that I had. And then I moved beyond that and made a great recovery in that world. And then I got hit with this neck issue. Now, for people who don't know, I was a jiu-jitsu, fighter for 5.5 years, a world-class jiu-jitsu athlete. So I really took my body to the extreme. And I learned about this thing called, first of all, I spent over a year trying to do different things with my neck, all kinds of different therapies. And something I found recently, which is fascinating, is called Blair Upper Cervical Chiropractic. It turned out that my atlas, which is the topmost vertebrae, the topmost joint, which basically protects your brainstem, was out of place. And no chiropractors, no conventional chiropractors know about this or know how to put it back in place. And actually, original chiropractic had only to do with the atlas. I forget the guy's name. I forget his name, but the guy who created chiropractic originally he just wanted to focus on the atlas. And when the atlas is out of place, all the rest of the body shifts out of place in correspondence to that, and your whole spinal column, the nerves that travel down your spine actually can't fire properly. So upper cervical chiropractic was a life changer for me, and I'm still in the process of it. But I want to share it with people because I really believe the world needs to know about this. Along with toxicity and all of these other things that I talk about, I believe that structural postural issues are leading to people's health issues. If the body is slouching and all of the nerves are being compressed, we're not able to experience biological harmony, right? As well as toxicity and of course all the other things. So in summary, where I've been, my health is just continuously I guess it's more of like a spiral, right? Spiraling upward. I'm achieving unbelievable states of consciousness and joy and empowered, feeling just super empowered and just disconnected from all of the bullshit that people complain about. I don't watch any of that stuff, politics, news, or any of that. I'm just in my own world, in my own joy and creation and trying to grow and evolve and go deeper and deeper and deeper into myself. So that's the long and short of it. I could probably talk for hours about what I've been up to though.
Yeah, that's great. And I totally recommend that everyone do what you do and don't pay attention. Turn off the television programming. Don't pay attention to any of that crap. It's actually, most of it's there to actually just keep you busy, to keep you in constant state of fear and keep you going. So you stay in this little system that they want to keep you in. And as Josh has discovered, and I'm starting to discover as well, when you start to get to a certain level of health, it's not just physical, but the physical is incredibly important. If you don't have the physical, I don't think you can get to the mental or even spiritual sort of angles to things. But once you start to get close to that, now I'm starting to get there, Josh. I'm not at your level yet, but if you remember 2 years ago, part of the reason I had you on was I was just learning about a lot of this stuff. Like it's quite amazing to me to look back at how much I've learned in the last few years from people like yourself and so many people. Clive de Carle's helped a lot, and so many people. And back then I was just looking at detox and stuff, and I did a lot of the detox stuff. And man, now you'd love my house, Josh. I'm here in Mexico. Obviously, it's always beautiful weather, quite a bit there, like California. And it's like I've got like a Bemer in my bed, Bemer machine. I've got ozone therapy sitting right over there. I've got what else? I do like dozens of things a day, and I just coffee enemas, of course, every morning. And by the way, I have to say, I always bring up coffee enemas. It's sort of like an internet meme about me, like that I do coffee enemas, proudly do them, and what else you putting up your butt, Jeff, that kind of stuff. But you actually put out the best video I've ever seen on coffee enemas. That's why I say to people, subscribe to Josh's channel. We'll put the link down below, obviously. And you put out a great video, because I get so many people asking me, they're like, man, you've been talking about enemas for like 2 years, and you're always like a big smile on your face. You're like, it's the best thing I do every day. But like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to get into all the details. I don't want to do a video on coffee enemas, but you went ahead and did that, so that's great, Josh. And but as you pointed out, as you get better physically, and then as you work on your mental stuff too, and that's a whole other thing that we could even talk about, emotional issues and, you know, therapy and all this stuff, and I do all that stuff as well. All of a sudden you do reach this state where you're like quite happy, and like you use the word joy. I don't know if I can use that word yet, but I'm actually quite happy now, which I've never really been in my adult life as far as I know. And a big part of it has been fixing my physical body. I'm still in the process of doing that. As you pointed out, it's not like you just do it and then you reach like an end point and you're done. It's like an ongoing thing. And I think what most people find, I'm certainly the case, and it looks like you are too, is as you keep going, it's almost like an addiction. You want to keep going because it's like, whoa, what else can I find out? What else can I fix? This is amazing. Oh my God, I feel even better after I did that. And you brought up, let's pick just a topic just to start on here. And you brought up the chiropractic stuff. I actually had a chiropractor come to my house a couple months ago. I think I read it maybe from you or from somebody, and it said something about how it's really good to have a chiropractor. And I was like, well, what, they work on backs? I don't know anything about it. Just like everything in the whole health world, I didn't know anything about it. And he came and he popped like my arms and my shoulders a few times, and I was like, actually, I feel quite a bit better. That was amazing. Like 5 minutes. Wow. Like pretty cool. But I didn't think too much of it. And then I met some other chiropractors, and I think actually Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who's a very anti-vaccine person, I believe she's a chiropractor and comes from a family of chiropractors. And then I started to look into it, and it seems like the chiropractors are like, as you know, Josh, there's a lot of idiot doctors out there, especially the general doctors. They're like just prescribing like pharma stuff to people. Like, oh, you got a depression? Oh, here, take this pill. And oh, take this. That's what I get paid to do. I just handle pills, right? But like the chiropractors, they seem to be like more what you call like natural sort of doctors and more connected to what's real health. Is that your impression as well?
Yeah, I think chiropractic, there's a huge range. I've seen some pretty lousy chiropractors, but I've also seen a ton that are super involved in detoxification. You know, one of the core principles of chiropractic is we remove the interference, right? Chiropractic, I think the saying is God can heal everything, we just remove the interference, right? And so another form of interference, one could argue, is toxicity, right? Is these heavy metals that are lodged in our cells that are preventing the harmony and the biological, you know, the way we were designed to take place, to happen in our body naturally. So chiropractic is, super important, especially for people who have things that are out of place, that are not allowing nerves to flow freely. But there's a whole spectrum, like, you know, there's general chiropractic, and then I dove a little deeper, and I went to some Gonstead doctors, and these Gonstead doctors use exact x-rays to determine where they're going to adjust. And then, I went to a few others. I don't think there were any particular style. And then the Blair upper cervical, for me, has been the most beneficial. But definitely what I found is that they're conscious, they're awake, they're understanding that, health is way more complex than prescribing pills. And if they're really good at what they do, they know that they can't just pop somebody and then their depression is going to be gone, right? That it's a process and it takes time. Though I have heard some miracle stories, to be honest with you, of people having things out of place that are affecting nerves, and they get it put back in place, and boom, they're a different person. You know, that's few and far in between, though.
Yeah, it's interesting because I read a lot of books on a lot of stuff, a lot of topics, and I'm quite interested in a lot of Eastern philosophies and things like that. And of course, a big topic in a lot of those is chakras, and that's, you know, lining up your chakras, and you've got blockages in this chakra. And I go to so many shamans and people, and they're like, "Oh, I can totally see you've got your heart chakra is totally blocked." It's like, how do you see that? I don't know, but you see like 3 in a row, and they all say the same thing. It's like, well, I think these guys kind of know what they're doing. I can't explain why, but it sounds like the chiropractor is a bit more like the scientific, or the more like hands-on, like real, like you can feel it and see it sort of a thing, doing the same thing, kind of like lining. Again, your spine is where all the chakras are anyway, or most of them anyway, and or I think maybe even all of them, but I'm no expert on any of this, obviously, but it kind of sounds like they're kind of doing similar stuff to what a lot of those kind of shamans do with chakras, but more from like a physical angle. Yeah,
they're aligning the spine, right? Aligning it the way nature intended, the way we were born, hopefully. Of course, there's deformities and all kinds of traumatic situations that can happen, but that allows spirit and energy to travel efficiently. We're literally just like biochemical, walking meat bodies, right? With all kinds of different electrical circuitry. So if things aren't in the place that they were designed for, then that can impact a ton of things. So, yeah.
That's great. So you brought up a couple things. I'm actually taking notes because I will be doing all the things that you're suggesting.
Yeah.
If anyone knows me, like if you mention a book, like by the time you're done mentioning it, I've already ordered it on Kindle on my phone. I haven't read a lot of them yet, but it'll be there one day when I have time to read them all. And same when I know people like Josh who know a lot of stuff. As he's talking, I'm writing things down. So what are some things that I personally can do? Should I go to a chiropractor? Should I try to obviously find a good one?
First,
obviously, like just like you said.
I would get the atlas checked. And basically what happens is if sometimes from birth, when we're pulled out of the vagina, we can have issues with the atlas coming out of place, motorcycle accidents, bike accidents, fights, any type of accident or fall. What happens is we get these little, and I'm not an expert in this department, but we get these issues with our joint coming out of place, anywhere between 1 and 3 millimeters. And when that atlas joint comes out of place, the rest of the body literally makes up for it and changes just so slightly. So when you get that pop back into place, the rest of the body unravels. So what I would do is start with the atlas. It makes most sense to me, and this is after 2 years of doing all the other chiropractic work. Start with the atlas, and then the rest of the body is going to unravel. And then once that unraveling process starts, then you can kind of go to a different chiropractor if need be. But I'm finding that foundation training and lifting, like putting a towel underneath the neck, or using something called a Deneroll or a neck doctor that actually brings the curvature of the neck back. With texting and everything, I saw this photo once. Maybe we'll put it up on the screen while we're talking. I'll send it to you, where it's a photo of a skeleton like this, and it says, "The next generation will shatter disease records. We'll break all-time disease records." And that's because when you're like this, you're putting pressure on your spine, you're putting pressure on your neck, on your nerves. Everything is out of whack. And if you actually look, this is freaky. If you actually look at the next generation of kids, and especially if you go to like wealthy cities, the people look different. Like people's body is different. And you live in Mexico. I don't know how many times you're in New York City or around teenagers, but a lot of them have bodies that I've never seen before. Bodies like their shoulders or their neck, everything is curled over. And this is a result of what we're, I guess I should look at my camera. Sorry guys, I'm looking down at you instead of the camera. But this is a result of what we're doing and how we're living, right? Divorced from nature, and we're not opening. So anyway, I would start with that Blair upper cervical. The 3 best in the country that I learned about were Dr. Drew Hall, Dr. Kevin Pecca, and Dr. Tom Forrest, and they all kind of trained with each other. And Tom Forrest is like the godfather of Blair upper cervical. So let's see, what else? A huge piece of the puzzle for health is remineralization, right? People are eating more than ever and are as devoid as ever when it comes to minerals and nutrients. So there are many different ways to do this. And you can't get all the nutrients you need from your salads, and especially if you're living a vegan lifestyle, it's very difficult. What I found is this company called Purium. I used to make superfood smoothies with like 15 different ingredients, and I teach people how to do that. But I found this super badass company called Purium. The founder is David Sandoval, and he has created these powders that have so much life force, and they're such perfect ingredients, and they really give you just that natural buzz. I tell people when they come to my retreats, they get high on minerals. We don't need no drugs. We don't need no ayahuasca. You get high on minerals. And when you're high on minerals, it is so clean and so pure and so grounded. It's not like, you commented on my last video that I made, where what goes up must come down, right? The bipolar video, where whatever's up ends up crashing. And that's the case when you drink caffeine. That's the case when you're taking drugs. when you're taking, certain things like modafinil that a lot of biohackers talk about. But when you get high on minerals, it's a life-changing practice because you are clear, you are able to perform, able to focus, not craving crappy foods, and you're living to your potential, right? And I think I talked about this on your last show, but why are we so devoid? Well, 1 carrot today is basically equivalent to 1/16 of a carrot, 20 years ago. And that's because our soils are devoid. So if our soils are devoid and our vegetables are devoid, everything is devoid in the rest of the ecosystem, right? So anyway, Purium Superfoods, damn, they are doing a good job. I've been wanting to create my own superfood line, but I just may go to bat. I think I'm just going to go to bat for these guys, to be honest, because they're probably the best company I've ever found at holistically putting together a remineralization program. So yeah, check them out, and hopefully you'll have David on the show as well.
Yeah, you already sent me an email and introduced me to him, and we're in talks right now. I'm trying to check. I asked him a few questions to see if he's an anarchist. He didn't fully answer me yet, so I'm going to have to answer him back. But if he turns out to be a voluntarist or anarchist, or at least really close, we'll probably have him on because I'm so interested in this stuff. And you mentioned this Purium, and I'm the kind of person who takes all kinds of stuff. And so I was asking you before the show, and you were telling me that this stuff is just night and day from anything else you've ever taken. So I'm definitely going to order some stuff. Actually, I already looked at the website. I see they've got tons of stuff. Is there anything in particular that you would say to someone like me that I should get?
Yes, get the Ultimate Nutrition Package. It's a 40-day Ultimate Nutrition Package. Anybody who's interested in diving deep with their health, I would say to do 2 things. Subscribe to me on YouTube, check out my free videos, and then go on the Purium website, especially if you're a rookie and you really haven't dove deep yet. It has everything you need to get started. And what you'll do is you'll get that 40-day Ultimate Nutrition Package. Get that one, don't get the Parasite one, or I prefer the Ultimate Nutrition Package. And it gives you these 2 superfood powders. One of them, I would suggest to get the Appleberry Shake. You have a choice. The other one, I would get the Love Shake, Original Love Shake. Those are my 2 favorite. And then, so those are kind of your minerals and your superfoods for the day. It also comes with something called Biomedic, which detoxes glyphosate from the body. As I'm sure a lot of your audience is savvy onto the dangers of glyphosate, and if they're not, I'll just keep it short and tell you that 99% of the inorganic food or beer or wine or anything that you're buying, if you're not health savvy, contains glyphosate, which is a part of Roundup. Okay, so all these different fertilizers, GMOs, insecticides, all of these different chemicals are contributing to global health crisis, right? Glyphosate being one of the most important and one of the most difficult to actually remove from the body. So he created a very, very awesome glyphosate product. It's the first I've ever seen specifically for glyphosate. And there's also a few other awesome things in there. There's some cherry juice that you drink at nighttime. I'm not a huge fan because I don't love that much sugar, but other people swear by it. And there's a cleansing product. And anyway, it's very, very easy, and it's a great place for people to get started. And it's what people want. My stuff is complicated. People just want to be breastfed. Like, hey, what do I buy? I want to buy one thing, and I want to take it once a day, and I want to be done with it and live my life. And for those people, Purium is an amazing segue, into this world. Of course, if you want to dive deeper and deeper, there's endless layers. You can check out more of my work, but that's a really good place for the average rookie to start. And even if someone's not a rookie, I would highly suggest those superfood powders, that Appleberry Shake and that Love Shake. Fuerte, fuerte.
That's great. I'm definitely going to be checking out some of that stuff. Do you have I think you have a code or something for Purium, is that right?
Detox Dudes. Use the code Detox Dudes, you'll get 25% off. I'm a proud affiliate
25%?
with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So yeah, definitely remember that, Detox Teas. Josh said I could sign up for my own affiliate code if I wanted, but I was like, no, let's just use yours. But it sounds really cool. I'm definitely going to try it out myself. And I think, Josh, you're probably the most into health stuff, like especially detox stuff, of anyone in the world that I know. And if you love this stuff that much, it's got to be really good. So I'll definitely be checking it out. Yeah, so much to talk about with the health stuff. I think you also went through some sort of a root canal or something interesting recently.
Thank you for bringing that up. This is crucial, of crucial importance for the world, and I'll probably be targeted, and someone will try and kill me after spreading this message. Between the chiropractic and what I'm about to share with you, I'm going to be rocking the boat here of conventional medicine. So, okay,
good.
so. So I've prepared. I've accepted that I could go down for this mission that I have. Right. I've had to fully embrace, like, I may actually die for this mission, you know? And whatever. So I'm prepared for that. Though I'd much prefer to stay alive. So anyway, you know, like cavitations. Okay, this is something I learned about years ago, and I never pursued because I thought it was bogus. But what I learned is that root canals and cavitations are extremely toxic. There's a documentary called Root Cause, which actually got taken off of Netflix, believe it or not.
I saw that,
it might still be on now, but it
must have some good information in it.
Yeah. If something's coming off of Netflix, you know it must be true, because there's thousands of dumb conspiracy movies on Netflix and they don't get taken down, right? So anyway, root canals and cavitations. We get our wisdom teeth pulled when we're younger, and we get root canals when we have issues with our teeth in order to save a tooth. And both of these, when done in the conventional dentist route, are highly, highly toxic. They create cesspools in our gums and in our jawbones, which, by the way, are connected to every other piece of our body via the meridian system. So, you know, I had mercury fillings, and mercury fillings are something that you're going to want to get checked if you're dealing with health issues, or if you just want to optimize yourself. You're going to want to go to a biological dentist and get that checked. The two other things that are of crucial importance in the mouth, which I learned that basically my whole life's problems originated from this area right here, you know, like between my cavitations and my mercury fillings and my atlas. I mean, pretty much this area is where all of my issues started from, you know, in my life and in my mental health and my physical health. So the cavitations are what are a result of getting wisdom teeth pulled, or any tooth pulled for that matter. When they pull a tooth, they don't clean and they don't remove something called the periodontal ligament, which actually acts as this membrane that prevents the immune system from fighting infection in that area. Furthermore, they inject us with anesthetic, which has epinephrine, which actually constricts blood vessels, which doesn't allow the area to heal, okay? Furthermore, they don't use ozone, and they have dirty tools, and they sometimes leave gauze in there. And then you're given massive amounts of drugs afterwards, right? Without any herbs, and you're given antibiotics, which kill your flora, right? So the cavitations form after years and years and years of having decaying, rotting tissue in your jawbone. It's called osteonecrosis. And what happens is the tissue and the jawbone start rotting away, and you're left with a gangrenous, okay, that my dentist told me it's gangrene-like, basically, as toxic as gangrene or botulism in the jawbone. And there's no way to fight it. There's no way to brush it. There's no way to clean it. It's inside your jawbone, and it doesn't cause any pain, believe it or not. So I had a test done. Maybe I wonder, I'll send you this image too. I had a test done which shows all of the types of bacteria and viruses that were in my gum, because they tested it. Dude, I had fecal matter parasites. I had all kinds of crazy off the chart bacteria in my jawbone for the past 20 years.
How did they do that test?
They scraped out, so when they clean the cavitation, they actually shoot it with ozone water, and they scrape out the dead tissue, and they sent that dead tissue to Christopher Shade's lab.
Oh, so you actually have to go and clean these out before you can even find out what's in there?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to get tested for what's actually in there, because the pretty much 99.9% of cavitations are highly toxic. right?
So how difficult is this? I hate dentist stuff. Like, how difficult is it to go in? Like, I've had I think 2 wisdom teeth pulled and a number of teeth pulled when I had braces as a kid. I'm sure they didn't do anything like really healthy about it all. And what would I actually have to do if I wanted to check into this?
You got to get a 3D cone beam scan. A 3D cone beam scan will allow the dentist, if he's a good one, to see if you have cavitations or not before you were to get any surgery.
Okay. And then if I do, what you already went through the surgery?
Yeah. Yep.
And what's involved with it?
Surgery is mild, and if you go to a botch doctor, you may be in for a wild ride. But if you go to someone who really knows what they're doing, like the 2 that I know that I could vouch for are Dr. Jarvis and Dr. Nunnally. One's in Texas and one's in Marin, California, and they know how to do this. They use very particular techniques. They use ozone, they use platelet-rich fibrin, they make very small incisions. It's like a 2-day recovery process. But I know people who have gone through this and have needed surgery after surgery and have had multiple week recoveries with agony. Not the case for me. I didn't even need an Advil. So if you go to a great guy, it shouldn't be a huge issue. If you go to someone who doesn't know what they're doing and uses old school techniques, then you're in trouble. The things you want to look out for, you want to make sure they don't pry your jaw open with a tool, because that'll destroy your jawbone. You want to make sure they use ozone, and you want to make sure they use platelet-rich fibrin, because that accelerates healing times 10. And you want to make sure that the other big piece is that they remove the periodontal ligament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So did you notice feeling any different after you had that done?
Did. My neck pain dropped by 40, maybe 50%. And then the other 30% has been the Atlas. And now I'm just working on residual pain, but it's been life-changing for me. I was having like debilitating neck pain. And who would ever correlate it with these 2 things, you know? The Atlas or the jawbone infection, right?
Yeah, it's amazing how connected our bodies are. I actually went for acupuncture. I don't know if you know a lot about acupuncture. You seem to know a lot about everything, but I don't know anything about it. But I went recently, someone just recommended, why don't you go try some acupuncture? So I did. And I went to a guy here in Mexico, and he seemed really good. And he had this chart of an ear on the wall. And every little part of the ear, it said it was like related to a part of the body. Like this is stomach, this is sex drive, this is whatever. And there's like hundreds of them. And he actually looked at my ears for like 20 minutes. And at the end, it was like he knew everything about me from just looking at my ears. He's like, oh, so the wife's a little rough on you sometimes. And I'm like, you know that from my ear? And he's like, yeah, I could see that here, the stress, and, it comes from this. And it's like, holy cow. And then he did some acupuncture stuff. And, I do so many things, it's hard to tell which stuff's working. But I get the sense that it is kind of working. And I've been going to him about once a week now for the last 4 weeks. Have you looked into acupuncture much or know much about it?
I did a little bit of acupuncture when I was in really bad shape. And I haven't really dove deep since then. And of course, acupuncture relies on the same principle, the meridians, right? The energetic lines that are running through our whole body, the veins, energetic veins. So there's so much merit to acupuncture. It's life-changing for certain people, Yeah,
it's pretty incredible when you think about it. Like a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here isn't that hard. Like order some of these Purium products,
take some binders.
Yeah, take some buying. We talked about that. Look back at past episodes if you want, or just watch Josh's channel. He talks a lot about binders and stuff like that. Basic stuff. Actually, one of the things that I just got into recently that I saw, I think you're doing a retreat or something in Colombia, and I love Colombia, by the way. We could talk a bit about that. But coming up in October, and I think I saw on the list, you have a whole list of things that you're going to be doing, and one of them, I think I saw a Bemer machine on there. So I just got the Bemer in the last month or so. So I just started going to sleeping on it all night just recently. And I've noticed some really pretty amazing things already with the Bemer. What's your thoughts on just the Bemer?
Oof, dude, Bemer is life-changing. I sleep on my Bemer every night. I've been doing that for 2 months, or maybe a month actually. I was using it for about 4 months before that without sleeping on it. And do you know that Nadal has a Bemer? You know that Federer has a Bemer? You know that Jack Nicklaus has 16 Bemers? He bought one for every member of his family. And there was the tennis team, the tennis team duo that just became #1 in the world, the doubles, I forget their name, they're brothers. They were number 2 in the world for like years, and one of them was an insomniac. And they got a Bemer, and that brother started sleeping again, and they became 1 in the world. So Bemer technology is super badass. It helped with my back big time. And what it is it helps with microcirculation, right? I believe they're called the capillaries, or there may be even something smaller than the capillaries, that we have like 77,000 miles of them in our body. And the Bemer actually helps blood flow. It helps expand and contract these capillaries, which allow blood flow and blood to get to places that otherwise blood can't get to efficiently. So you're left with more circulation and more toxin removal, right? More toxic dump. So anyway, the Bemer, it's expensive. It's like a $6,500 machine. A lot of people can't afford that, but it is a magical device. And like at my retreat, we're going to be giving massages on the Bemer, so that's like next level. And then, there's all different things. You can do the Bemer on all different parts of your body for injuries with the Bemer pad. I don't know if you have that pad, but you can put it on your back and your legs and your hips and shoulders and neck. And
I've got all the parts.
Yeah. So I love the Bemer. I love Ozone. I've been diving deep with Ozone, and Jeff, you're probably gonna buy one of these now in the next week. So I actually have an Ozone sauna.
You're gonna make me broke, Josh.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
But it's worth it. It's totally worth it.
So all right, Ozone is technology that's been around for a while, that Tesla actually was one of the main people who said, hey guys, this ozone thing is super safe and super helpful. So ozone is O3, it's gas. It converts oxygen into ozone, right? And an ozone generator. So actually, I make ozone water. I have it right there in my room. I make ozone water. You can do rectal ozone, and you can actually pump ozone into a sauna. Now, you don't want to breathe ozone. It's toxic if you breathe it. So it's a special sauna that your head is out of, and you're pumping ozone into your skin as your skin sweats, and it actually converts into peroxides, and it's like the ultimate detox. Heavy metal, skin detox, immune boosting, and it's pretty badass. So
wow, I'd never heard of that one. I've actually got my infrared sauna sitting right here. I do it every night. So are you saying like if you do the ozone with the sauna in that form is like the ultimate detox as opposed to like rectal or anything else?
One of the ultimate detoxes, and safe and not going to cause intense detox reactions, is ozone saunas, but you can't do it in the sauna that you have. You have to get a special material because ozone will corrode that type of material that you have in your sauna. So you have to actually buy a specific dome, or you can go as high as $5,000 for one. The cheapest one is like 500, and it's just this fabric that's ozone resistant. But that's pretty badass. Of course, talk to your doctor first before engaging in that activity.
I don't talk to doctors. They're mostly idiots.
I'm talking to the audience, not you.
But that's really interesting. So the ozone water you drink, I heard you can also Bemer your water. Do you ever do that?
I've never done that.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. So you just put like a glass jar of water in one of the Bemer things, like wrap it around at the highest level, and they say it's really good. But I've heard about ozone water. So let me ask you this. I was told when I got my ozone machine here that I should do it daily for about 3 weeks and then stop for like a month, right?
Your ozone machine? You said your ozone machine or your sauna?
Ozone.
Oh, you have ozone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got everything.
Damn, okay.
I told you, like my house.
What kind of ozone machine do you have? Do you have the WPS or the longevity one?
I don't even know. I'd have to.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it's like a white box.
Longevity.
I don't know.
Okay.
But so I was told I do it rectally, and you might as well. I'm doing the coffee enemas anyway. But I was told that I should do it like for 3 weeks and then stop for like a month. If you do it too much, it's really bad. Actually, is that something you know about?
You definitely don't want to overdo ozone. It's pretty harsh on the body. I think Dr. Schallenberger, who's one of the the world world-renowned teachers for Ozone, he talks about taking days off. So, you know, like you go 1 day on, 1 day off, or you do 6 days on, 1 day off. He has a bunch of different protocols depending on if it's vaginal or rectal or ear. You know, you can put ozone in your ear. You can put ozone in your nose too, but you got to use olive oil in order to change the structure of the ozone before you breathe it in. So yeah, you definitely don't want to go too hard on that. But it is really effective at healing the gut and healing the villi. So it's a powerful, powerful treatment. Yeah, it's one of the strongest treatments I've ever experienced. You know, I've fucked myself up, for lack of a better word, on ozone. You know, like we're talking 4 days of heart palpitations from doing too much ozone, and feeling like I can't even leave my house, right? So I guys, I do all the dirty work for you, right? I'm just gonna tell you what's safe after I fuck up. You know? Yeah, and you want to start with a low gamma. You want to start with a low gamma and be safe, and you don't want to overload your body with any of these treatments, you know?
Yeah, I think she had me on a pretty low level, so I think I'm pretty good. But one thing I haven't done is the ozone water, so maybe I'll look into that. I assume I could just make it with the machine I've got here. So.
Super easy. Yeah, you just get a stone and you put it in this glass vial, and it takes 20 minutes to ozonate your water, and boom, you got your whole small intestine that's coated with, you know, feeding ozone into your small intestine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, there's so many things we could talk all day, but I think, you know, people have ADD. They're also busy. They got to keep working to pay all their taxes out there, and all the regulations and the central banks destroying the economy. So people got to keep going and going, or they don't have to. They can just stop. But most people haven't, and just grow a garden and just relax and don't worry about things. But people do have a limited time. So let's cut this a little short. But let's talk a little bit about your stuff. You have a retreat coming up. You also have your Detox Dudes program. So just let people know all about those things.
Yeah, cool. I just want to give can I give a quick practical step if people feel overwhelmed right now with all the information we talked about? What I would say is to just get the Purium superfoods, start getting your sunlight, change your water to distilled water, and start taking some binders, clay, charcoal, zeolites, stuff like that, and watch and then flush. Make sure your bowels are constantly being flushed. You can use magnesium or triphala, and watch as your life starts changing, right? That alone is going to transform a lot of lives. So you don't need to spend $6 grand on a Bemer and $5 grand on an ozone machine. We're just, you know, we're having fun here, and we're, you know, we're much deeper in this world, right, than where most people are at. So just to you know, to make things lighter, you know, you don't need to spend thousands of dollars. There are simple measures that you can take and do what you can when you can, and see things through. You know, see, people give up on things after a couple days. You got to choose something, see it through, and if it doesn't work for you, you move on to the next thing. But this health game is a marathon. It's a long-term game, and we have to play it like a marathon, which means you check something off the list, you know you gave it an ample try, right? Instead of doing something for a day, oh, fuck this Bemer thing, let's do ozone. Oh, this ozone thing didn't work, let's do this. Let's do Purium, you know, and just bouncing around, you're going to get fractured. So that being said, I have a retreat coming up October 5th through 12th in Colombia in the Andes Mountains at a beautiful $4 million retreat center. We're gonna rock your world and get you high on minerals and clean out the decades of fecal matter that you have in your intestines with some binders and colonics and juice cleansing and bone broth and a bunch of other little tricks I have up my sleeve. Massages, Bemer. It's a beautiful resort that we're going to be staying at. So reach out to me if you're interested in that, josh@thedetoxdudes.com. And then, yes, I do also have, thanks for letting me plug all this, Jeff. I do also have my masterclass. If you go to detoxdudes.com instead of thedetoxdudes.com, it'll take you to my masterclass, which is my 5.5 years of obsessive research distilled into 40 videos for $300. So my life's work for $300, where you get to save potentially thousands of dollars depending on how deep you were going to go, and save a lot of suffering and time. You know, it's like a bridge that I've created that you got to pay the toll to cross that bridge, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great that you offer all those sort of things. People out there, if you're interested in any of that, definitely look into it. I've done so many things that Josh has said, and a lot of them have turned out really great. And I continue to do so many things. And who knows, maybe in October I'll try to join you down in Colombia if I can. I love Colombia. I don't know if you've been. It's one of the best countries in the world by far. And it's so beautiful and so nice. And it's a surprise, surprise. It's not what they say it is on the news. It's actually one of the nicest, safest, best places in the world, Colombia right now. And so, yeah, definitely check that out. There's, like I said, we could go on forever about this stuff. But if you're interested in this stuff, subscribe to Josh's YouTube channel. He puts out tons of great stuff. His Detox Dude. You also have the group, which is great because this can be kind of scary, right? When you're kind of ill, and I was lucky that I was never really ill. I had depression, which sucks. But I was never like, I couldn't get out of bed because like I had internal bleeding type horrible diseases or anything like that. And a lot of people do, not a lot, but some people do. And it must be incredibly scary to go through that alone. And I found that was one great thing about your thing is you've got your whole group there because it is nice to have that little bit of a, what do you call it, like a social, whatever you want to call it, safety net or whatever, your network or whatever. Of people who've gone through it before, because a lot of stuff can be a little bit scary and you don't know what to do. A lot of these machines, like this Ozone machine, I still don't know how to use half the things on it. Like I don't want to screw up or anything, but you can go on your group there and just ask questions. So you gave all the links to everything there, so that's great. Oh, I should also mention you were at Anarchast 2 years ago. You didn't come this year for some reason. I think you're busy doing something, but you're probably going to be there next year. We're working it out. And if I have anything to do with it, it'd be great if you could bring some of your treatment type stuff and be able to offer it to people there at the sort of health and wellness portion of Anarchast. We'll figure all that out. We've got till February to figure that out. We've got 10 months left to figure that out, but quite likely you'll be there. So definitely want to check out Anarchast coming up in next February. We still haven't figured out the exact dates. Those will be decided on in the next couple of weeks, and we'll start announcing all that. So great to have you on, Josh.
Yeah,
is there anything that we didn't mention that you wanted to mention? Any final comments?
I think that's all. Just letting people know that this is a precious vessel. We only have one lifetime. We clean this out, a lot of our problems can be eviscerated. We got to take care of this body and of course the planet. But we start here with this body. This is all we got. This vessel is everything, so let's take good care of it.
Yeah, actually, the more that I look into things like religions and stuff like that, it seems like a lot of the stuff, like in the Bible and stuff, when they're talking about, well, of course, they say your body is your temple, which I would agree. And then a lot of the stuff, actually, if you look, have you ever looked into the Gospel of the Essenes? It's a part of the Bible that they never included in the Bible, which probably means it had really good information in it. And I checked it out, and it really does. It basically talks about fasting. It talks about, I think, enemas, like Jesus was talking about enemas, I think. I don't quote me on that, but like he's talking about a lot of the stuff that we do. And I think a lot of that stuff that I think in the Bible, it's like a metaphor. So it's like, if you do this, you'll be cleaner and then you'll be closer to God or whatever. So don't sin or you're going to hell. They got the don't sin or you go to hell part wrong. I think what that means is if you don't treat your body well, you're going to live living hell in your own body unless you clean it out. And the more that you clean it out, the more that you're somehow able to connect with whatever you want to call it, the universe or whatever that is. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%. Aho.
Yes.
Aho.
Yeah, and we've both done psychedelics and stuff too. You said ajo, just reminded. I think that's something they say in Peru, isn't it?
I think it's like a Lakota thing. I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, right. It's Indian. Yeah. Anyway, it just reminded me that we've both done psychedelics. Those are interesting as well. There's lots of things out there to check out, but definitely want to make sure you got this vessel, working well. And most people don't. Like, what would you like? I always carry on here. I got a couple minutes. What would you estimate the amount of people in our society today, like your average American society, actually have really good health? I'd say it's probably under 1%, right?
Under 1%.
Yeah.
Most people,
even the people that you see that look good, they're athletes or whatever, they're in good shape because they're working out every day. They're obviously getting rid of a lot of the toxins through sweating, through exercise. They eat quite good. They're not eating McDonald's every day, but they're still missing a lot of the parts to real health, right?
Yeah. It's like people are operating. I don't know what percentage of people are unhealthy, but what I can tell you for sure is that people are operating at 10, 20% of their capacity. Who knows what the exact number is, but a fraction of what's capable, of what they're actually able to tap into. The amount of life force, the amount of clarity, the amount of spirituality, so I use that as a measure of health. What are you able to tap into? How much life force can you tap into? So some people are healthy, and then there's the measure of health. Some people want to live a really long time. Some people want an intense life. Like bodybuilders, I mean, that's not healthy, right? If you ask me, that's not a measure of health. But they're feeling more energized than pretty much anyone on the planet in those few moments, right? Or in those few hours. But what goes up must come down. That's not really a sustainable path. So anyway, I guess it depends on the measure of health, but let's just say we are a collective sick society right now. That I could agree on. Yeah in many ways, so not just physically.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you yourself are not feeling well, definitely check out Josh's stuff. If you know somebody, just share this video with them. A lot of our Anarchast videos is too scary to share with people. We're talking about, not extorting people, not killing people. But this one's fairly safe. You can share with anyone you want. We're not talking about anything too crazy. Although I'm sure some people will go, oh, these guys aren't doctors. Hey, they didn't go to 12 years of being indoctrinated. How could they possibly know anything? As opposed to these guys in the white lab coats who just pass out dangerous chemicals all day. So whatever. But if you like this video, like, subscribe, share down below. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing because we both feel great. And that's me, Josh. Like, I think when we first started talking a few years ago, I was just starting down this path. I was maybe a year into it, and I was mostly just doing the psychedelics at that time, which actually helped. But it was not the total key to where I am today. A lot of it's been just the physical health stuff and other things as well, meditation and yoga. I could go on and on about all the things that I do, but if it's definitely something. If you don't know any of this stuff, start to look into it. And like Josh said, if this seemed like way overwhelming, just start slow on a couple things. Focus on a couple things. Just improving your diet or getting some exercise. Some people don't even do that. And just start from there, and you'll just start to see the benefits of it. So that's it for Anarchast. I'd like to thank Josh for coming on. Hopefully he'll come down in Acapulco next year. Maybe I'll see him in Colombia at his retreat. No promises, but I'd love to make it. And that's it for Anarchast. You're home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.